The idea of staying without a job and yet I am a mother really scared me. And so I decided, well, let me venture into business, just in case the worst thing happened. So I came in 2002. We had a war back home. My mother was already working here, so it was the easiest entry to safety.
Yeah,
so that is basically
yeah.
what made me find myself here. Once our people of Africans leave the continent, they have many more opportunities abroad. Someone for the same job that they would have ideally gotten into in Kenya, for example, are paid there perhaps 10 times higher. Common sense, why would you come back home?
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, we're exporting a lot of talent, but then who is going to develop Africa?
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Difficult Conversations. I know it's been a very, very long time, but don't worry, I'm back and I'm here with a very special guest. But before I introduce her, allow me to introduce her. Okay, so today's guest is an organizational development consultant, counseling psychologist who believes that the transformation starts from within. With a deep understanding of human behavior, leadership, and strategy, she helps organizations and individuals navigate change, build resilient teams, and align purpose with performance. As a founder and CEO of Trans Solution Services Africa Limited, she has partnered with organizations across Africa, working alongside leaders as they strengthen governance, refine strategy, and build culture that drives sustainable growth. Her work has earned regional and international recognition, but beyond the awards, her passion is simple: helping people grow, lead better, and create impact that lasts. She has a fascinating journey into the world of business, one shaped by bold decision, resilience, and vision. Today, we'll explore how to cultivate a positive mindset that becomes the foundation of sustainable growth, strong leadership, and building teams that thrive. Because at the end of the day, mindset isn't just personal, it's the strategy behind every successful business. So without any further ado, welcome Emmanuella Aboa to Difficult Conversations.
Thank you, Val.
Thank you so much for being here. I know that
pleasure.
getting you on board has been tricky. I literally saw her it was a business forum
Yes, it was.
in November last year.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my goodness, I need to speak to this lady, because she came on stage and she was like, you guys need to get serious. And I was like, I need to speak to her. I
Absolutely.
need to have her on the podcast. So let's just jump straight into it. Please just give me a brief background of, your background, how the journey of you getting into business, how it all began.
All right. Thank
Yeah.
you, Val, for having me. And finally,
I know.
it's been a while now.
Yeah.
So originally, I'm from Côte d'Ivoire. I was born in an Ivorian and Senegalese family, but I have lived in Kenya for now 23 years. So I'm a permanent resident here. And this background is important. Why? Because it shapes the mentality that we have.
Yeah.
When we speak about Africa, people look at Africa as an entire continent on its own. But Africa is made of 3 linguistic zones: the Anglophone, the Francophone, and the Lusophone. So it's important to understand that, because they all have a different way of looking at life, they all have a different way of thinking, and they have all a different way of getting life right.
Yeah.
So coming from a Francophone perspective, the ideology was always study hard so that you could one day have an office and be called chief or sir or madam, whatever that is.
Yeah.
Because the ideology of entrepreneurship is not yet developed, or rather was not well developed back then. And so that was my journey, really, starting off, studying hard, making my mom proud, having been raised by a single mother, make a life for myself and be able to give back, as simple as that. So the entrepreneurship journey was really not in my mind. I did not start a business based on passion. I hear that quite often recently.
Yeah.
But for me, it wasn't out of passion. It was out of survival, I'll say. That was actually it. Yeah.
You started a business out of survival.
Yes.
We're going to get into that.
Yeah.
But before that, what was your upbringing like? Because you're from two different countries.
Yeah.
Were you constantly in Cote d'Ivoire and then going back and forth? Or what was that like?
No. So my mother is originally from Senegal, but she had moved in Cote d'Ivoire. She actually was born in Cote d'Ivoire. And so my upbringing was mostly in Cote d'Ivoire. How was it? It was good.
Yeah.
Good in the sense that I had love.
Yeah.
Yeah, from my mother, from my grandparents, because I grew up with them. My parents separated quite early, so I've never really had fatherly love that most people speak of.
Oh.
But he was still in my life. He was still in my life, just not as a perfect family.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. That's interesting. All right. So you did say that you started your business out of a necessity. It wasn't out of passion.
Yeah.
Walk me through that journey.
All right, so I had gotten my dream job. I was working for an international organization. I was excited about it. My vision was clear: get to the UN.
Yeah.
I think everyone at one point in time think that the
Yeah.
UN is the ideal workplace.
It's the perfect place.
And,
yeah.
and I was there. And I remember having conversation with people. It's very important to have mentors around you who are able to guide you. So in one of those conversations, the emphasis was, if you want to get to the UN, you must work for an NGO. And prior to that, my experience was limited to the private sectors and the public sectors. And so getting that job was really a dream job because it was going to be the foundation upon which I will eventually get to the UN. And so I
Yeah.
thought. And three months into the job, changes happen. People start to lose their job because there is no funding. And I was very certain that I was going to be one of them because, well, I was the last recruit in the African region.
Yeah.
And the idea of staying without a job, and yet I am a mother, really scared me. And so I decided, well, let me venture into business, just in case the worst thing happened. And I had to look at my skill, what was I good at? And I looked at it and compared it with where Kenya was at that time. I remember very well the late Kibaki. The president Kibaki used to talk a lot about Vision 2030.
Yeah.
And so I had to really look at it. How can I maximize? How can I take part in this beautiful vision that Kenya has based on the skill set that I have? And the ideology that came to mind right there was, this is a beautiful vision. Many foreigners will come into Kenya. Many international organizations are likely to find themselves in Kenya.
Yeah.
And I am bilingual. So let me start a linguistic service.
Ooh, yeah.
Let me take advantage of that. And just like that, the business started off. It started as a joke. I did not lose my job. I stayed there for quite a number of years.
Yeah.
And it forced me to look at business differently because at that time, I started, like I mentioned, as a joke, but we got businesses. There was income coming in. And I saw, why not take these things a bit more seriously?
Yeah. Also, when you say that you were looking at where Kenya was at that time,
absolutely.
I just want to know, like, when did you move into the country? Because I would have assumed that you got a job in Cote d'Ivoire and then the job moved you into the country.
No. I call myself a local foreigner. So we did not come with the UN and all this big agency. We came and we started off. We started off with all the difficulties that one can imagine, and of course, being a foreigner, this ideology of a work permit. And it was really hard. It was extremely hard because no one wanted to employ someone who did not have a work permit. Because hiring a foreigner meant that you needed to consider first the skills and talents. You needed to consider the salary that you would offer them, but also that you needed to pay for a work permit because they came under your wings, quote unquote. And so that became a bit more expensive for many organizations.
Yeah.
So yes, I wasn't just a foreigner, I was a local foreigner.
Yeah.
I came to Kenya in 2002. We had a war back home. And so
I
by the
was
time
3 years old.
you were 2 years old. I like that. I like that.
I was literally no, I was actually 3 years old.
3 years old.
3 years old. Yeah.
And here we are.
Yeah.
So I need to applaud you because amid the age, look at what you have done for yourself. That's absolutely amazing.
Thank you.
Yes, so I came in 2002. We had a war back home. My mother was already working here. So it was the easiest entry to safety.
Yeah,
So that is basically
yeah.
what made me find myself here. I tried severally to leave the country.
Why? You don't like
because
us?
no. My Kenyan name is Shiro, so that should tell you how much I love you. I was even adopted into the country.
Yeah.
But the challenge was really my working situation. Not having a work permit.
Yeah.
Not having a work permit was really difficult. And I'm the firstborn of my family. And so the idea, I thank God my parents never pressurized me, but I pressurized myself that I needed to take care of my family. And so after a while, after many years, the idea of going back home came into mind. And I think I did go. And the Lord brought me back. So I was already here before the Vision 2030.
Yeah.
And so I saw an opportunity and I decided to jump into it.
Okay, and you did mention about, you didn't lose your job when they were having the layoffs. So when did you fully transition from employment to business? How was that process like for you?
5 years later.
Ah,
Yeah, so I stayed in the organization for quite some time. I had an amazing boss, so I could have a conversation with him. I did tell him that I had a business on the side. And he took it really positively. He encouraged me. Eventually, I don't want to say your name, but I appreciate you and you know yourself. You know yourself.
yeah.
So eventually what happened was that he gave me, out of the 5 days, the 5 working days, he gave me 1 day off to focus on my business.
What? Yeah. First of all, that never happens.
No, he did. And he gave me a caveat, as long as it did not affect my performance at work.
Oh.
And so what it did is that it motivated me more.
Yeah.
So sometimes you would see me, like, Emmanuella, you sent an email at 2 a.m. I said yes, because I wanted to respect I wanted to respect the opportunity that he had given me.
Yeah.
I wanted to showcase to him that I honored him and I did not take his kindness for granted. So that forced me to do more for him. And after 5 years, I remember we had the conversation where I told him, I think it is time for me to transition, that I needed to go. But prior to that, I spent about 1 or 2 years ensuring that my company had systems in place, ensure that we had also a very, very good income that could sustain us, ensuring that I made all the mistakes that I could possibly make.
Yeah.
Why? Because when you are having your business on the side and having a full-time job, money is not the same. At the end of the month, you know that you're going to get a salary. So that compensates for what you are doing. You can afford to lose money. But when you get into a business full-time, there is no plan B. There is no plan C.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, there is no salary, depending, of course, on how your business is performing. And so I needed to ensure that a lot of things were in place before I could leave. I enrolled in too many programs to ensure that I was doing the right things.
Yeah.
Did I have this policy in place? Was I a competent leader to begin with? What was I going to look for? I think I wanted to tick a number of boxes
before
I could transition.
And it's interesting because a lot of people, immediately when they start a business, they immediately leave employment.
No, that's the biggest mistake. I would not recommend that. I would not advise anyone to make that mistake.
Yeah.
Learn. The employment is actually really good. Huh? It gives you a platform for knowledge to learn as much as you possibly can. You understand a lot of things. You understand system, you understand policy, you understand what it means to lead a team, a difficult team for that matter, because not everyone will have the same way of looking at life. There is always that person who will give you more headaches than anyone else.
Yeah.
So it helps you put in place or rather sharpen the skills that you will need when you eventually transition fully into your business. So I see employment as a platform for knowledge, for understanding, to basically sharpen your skills until that time where you need to transition. So take your time. Why are you rushing? And even if you have, because honestly speaking, Val, I was blessed. It is not everyone who will give you an opportunity, one day off every single week to go and work on your business.
Yeah.
And even if you don't have that, you work 9 to 5. What do you do after that? When you get back to the house, do you also invest in your business? Or do you give yourself many excuses why you cannot work on your business? For example, I'm too tired, I have this meeting, and it could be true.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, how much value do you put on your business? Because when you are able to answer that question, then you will sacrifice to make it happen.
Yeah. Now looking into business and stuff like that, I do want to touch on the subject of men and women dynamics in the marketplace. Do you think, how would you describe the relationship between men and women in business?
That's a very interesting question. How would I describe the relationship between men and women? Tom and Jerry?
Are you serious?
Yeah. That is basically how I rolled.
Yeah.
Why? Because we are not at par. That's the reality. And I think we've had too many conversations about it. Sometimes, honestly, Val, I even get tired of answering that question. Why?
Yeah.
Because we have been fighting for equality for many years. But where are we at right now? Yes, we applaud. There have been quite a number of significant progress, not just in the business world, but in government, all throughout. I love what Namibia has been doing right now.
Yeah.
So Namibia, they have female president, a female vice president, and majority of the cabinet is actually made of women. So that is absolutely beautiful. Why am I linking it with government? Because at the end of the day, whatever government does cascade back as well to our reality on the ground. And to be fair, from a general perspective, we are not at par. Amidst the qualification that women have, we are still not at par in terms of salaries, in terms of opportunities, in terms of growth. We still have a lot to do. Yeah.
I like how you're talking about this because I saw, it was a video that I was watching online. It came up and the guy was talking about how basically a lot of the spaces in the marketplace, especially in corporate, women are the ones who are dominating, right? And I was like, okay, that's facts, maybe to a certain extent, but it doesn't change that there's still a glass ceiling that women still have to go through, you know?
Let me ask you, what's the definition of dominating?
Like he was from his perspective, he was saying that a lot of the promotions, women are getting them. A lot of the opportunities that are coming forth, like new positions, women are getting them, specifically in corporate. So he was saying, even in terms of education, you have a lot of women who are advancing education-wise.
Yes.
So he was saying, it looks like the women are now dominating, that they're the ones who are dominating because they just seem to have more opportunities than what we used to have. I was like,
I have a very different perspective about it. Huh?
yeah.
When it comes to the education system, yes, women, I want to believe, are more educated.
Yeah.
It reached a point where women had to hold their destiny into their hands. And that meant taking every step that they could to be more visible in the marketplace.
Yeah.
So in terms of education, absolutely. In terms of personal growth, absolutely. I even say that when I'm trying to hire a new individual in my company, with all due respect, the women they are bolder, they are more confident, they know why they have come. They basically have a greater vision about their lives than most men, and especially the Gen Z. That's a story for another day. So that is a reality. But at the end of the day, when it comes to many leadership positions, assuming given those leadership positions have a number of women, they don't have the final say in terms of many decisions that are being made in that organization.
Yeah.
So and that's why I ask you the definition of dominating. Because sometimes you can be in a position but you don't have what it needs or what you need to actually impact it or to see it grow into the ideologies that you have or the vision that you have. Sometimes, let's not lie about it, depending on the organization, depending on some of them, the funding that they have also received, because many international organizations have now cornered many individuals where, well, you want the funding. Are we going to have women on board? Are we going to have the handicapped, for example, on board? They have structured it in a way that whether we like it or not, we have to include the women, we have to include some of the minority, so-called minority, into the corporate world.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, do they have the same muscle as a man counterpart? I dare to say no, because I have seen that quite a lot.
So it's a diversity hire.
There is that aspect. There is that aspect. But there is also the aspect of women growing, but like you have also rightfully saying, there is a ceiling.
Yeah.
And for you to break that ceiling, partnership with the man is very, very important.
And I want to know, I'm so happy you're touching on this. I want to know from your personal experience, have you had it easier working and partnering with men than with women? Or because I think I've asked different people and they've told me very different things. Like I've met a woman who was like, I actually would prefer to work with a man. And I'm like, okay, this is interesting.
I don't like to say that, but to be honest, it's always easier for us to work with men than women. It is. I am the product of mentorship.
Yeah.
And the mentorship that I am emphasizing on was because of the male leaders that I have had in my life.
Yeah.
When it comes to women, they see you as a competitor. And so the narrative is very different.
That's horrible.
That's a reality on the ground.
That's horrible.
For majority, I don't want to say for all women,
Yeah.
but for majority. And while it is horrible, it also brings out the question of what can we do about it? Life is not perfect anyway.
Yeah.
So there are many things that we are going to see and we're going to be complaining about. But what can you do? What can I do to change the status quo? And so I'm very keen on mentorship. I'm very keen on mentoring young girls and women as well to help them get the support that I got as well from the men, but to also change the narrative that we've had.
Yeah.
That is important to me. Yeah.
I think, wow. I actually was not expecting that as well because, you're literally in charge of shepreneurs. So I wasn't, that's very interesting. But I will say from now your business growing in terms of, mindsets, growing in terms of, building a team, do you also think that you find yourself in spaces where you are forced to do a diversity hire?
Not with that mindset, Val. Not with that mindset. I don't do it intentionally. Unfortunately, like I've mentioned before, during the interviews, for most senior positions, the women have it. So they make it very easy for us to hire them as opposed to the men.
Yeah.
So it's not about, in my case, it's not really about intentionality. I look at skills, I look at the talent, I look at the confidence, especially depending on the role. And more often than not, the women have it.
Yeah, but also talking about, women being seen as, they look at you as competition. I think on a wider scale, what would you employ from a mindset perspective that we need to be able to train even younger women? Because I think it's a toxic cycle. And if you don't put a pin on it very fast, it just grows, and then the next generation does what the previous generation were doing. So what can we do about it as women, helping women to actually be able, instead of me looking at you like, oh, she's my competition, and I'm looking at you like, no, if you can grow, then let me help you.
Oh, we need to change our mindsets.
Yeah.
Because it all begins with the mindset. You will see me as a competitor because of the way that you interpret the world, with your own trauma, with your own past experiences, with the challenges that you have encountered. Nobody wakes up and look at another human being and think, well, that person is going to be my competitor.
Yeah.
When such information or such statements are made, or even are thought of, because rarely do we speak about them, you really have to look at the person's background. What happened? More often than not, it comes from a point of lack. See, when you lack, you want to compete to get as much as you possibly can.
Yeah, scarcity.
I don't see that. I personally do not see it. So it has to start from the mindset. I need to look at you, Val, and not look at you as a possible competitor, but I need to look at you and think, as Val grows, she will take more women on board. And then eventually in 10 or 20 years, the narrative in Africa would have completely changed.
Yeah.
And it is not even the focus on women, but that there will be more of an equitability when it comes to the workplace. That we will not hire because of gender. We will not hire because of preferences. We will not hire from a place of scarcity, but we will hire because a person is competent. We will help as well, hold the hands of the people who are below and help them grow, because everybody has a chance to grow. So it has so many things in between that we also have to consider.
Okay. Now, with the journey from your company,
Yes.
I want to know in more detail. It started off as a necessity, and then you saw an opportunity. How did that grow into what it is today?
All right, so it started off as a necessity, as something I was doing for fun. I'm not really passionate about translation and interpretation.
Yeah.
But I have to be honest, it has money. There's good money in it. And so one of the things that I understood very early is that the organization could not grow by being focused on Emmanuella. It had to have structures and system in place.
Yeah.
When we started advertising ourselves, we started advertising as a French and English translation company. And then we started getting requests from other international, from other embassy regarding different linguistic support.
Yeah.
I love money. I couldn't say no. I saw it again as another opportunity to deal with. So I had to now start looking at my business as a business and not just as a hustle. And so putting the structures in place, putting strategy in place, so that also individuals could come as consultants and help provide the needed linguistic support that we had back then.
Yeah.
I wasn't passionate about it. What I was passionate about was developing people. So I would find a lot of time going into school, to university, and speak to young people. Why? Because for me, when we think about the future of Africa, we really have to focus on young people.
Yep.
It is extremely important. And so I used to go and have discussion with them for fun. I would challenge the mindsets. I
Yeah.
thank God for all these schools that opened the door to me so that I could have really intellectual conversation with them. And I remember back then, the conversation, and I think it is still a current problem that we have in the continent. Everyone wants to go abroad.
Yeah, brain drain.
US, UK, Canada, they have an entire list about the countries that they need to go and study in. And I would challenge them. I would ask them why. And most of the time, these children did not have an answer to it. They had heard the parents speak about it. The parents also did not get the opportunity. So everybody is passing on that information.
Yeah.
We are creating a beautiful image of the West. And unfortunately, a terrible one about our own continent. And so I began to challenge them. If this is really the picture that we have, and I am not putting down Europe in any possible way, but if this is really the picture that we have, why is it that Europeans are coming to Africa to work? Why are they establishing businesses in Africa? And when I would ask them that question, they would all look at me completely confused. And I said, it is time, it is really high time that we think differently. Go and study, that is really important. In any case, they are a developed nation, so there are many things that we can learn from them.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, my point is, why are you staying there? To make a living for yourself. When Europe, for example, has a 100 years plan about Africa, why aren't you coming back? What are they seeing that you are not seeing?
Yeah.
And so I started to challenge them a lot. And one day, there was a principal of that particular school. She came and she spoke to me and she asked me, you're really good at it. Why don't you include it as a service in your company. And I said, what type of service? She said, training, coaching, developing leaders. That had never crossed my mind because I was doing what I love, talking to people, talking to young people, challenging their mindset. But going back home and reflecting about that statement made me happy. It wasn't work, it was purpose, it was different. And so with that in mind, we started changing certain things in the organization, restructuring it differently. And one of the services, one of the pillars that we offer is learning development consultancy, because I love equipping leaders. And not just future leaders, but even current leaders. As long as I see people grow, that is my mantra. I was not born to accept the status quo. I was born to challenge.
Yeah.
And this is something that I'm very, very passionate about. So eventually, that experience made and changed completely the structure of Turn Solution Services with time.
I love that you're talking to young people about mindsets. I went to an international school, and I can tell you firsthand, they used to pump it into us like, no, you have to go abroad for uni. You have to go abroad. So you would sometimes you would feel like, not that they would make you feel like a failure, but you would feel like a failure even considering to go back to your home country to university. But I think having seen both sides of the coin, I'm like, yes, we do need to really upgrade our organizational structure, especially with education. Think about it, the 7 spheres of influence, right?
Yes.
Education is like the glue
It's very key.
that holds everything together. You need education to succeed in all the rest. And I think even when you look at the education systems in Africa, we are severely slacking.
Yes, we are.
Severely slacking. Like, it's actually so bad when you see young people, especially who are going out on the street saying that I'm ready to die. It's nothing small. It's because they've looked at it and they're like, there's nothing here for me anymore. I don't have any opportunity. And then the mindset goes back to, but if I just leave, maybe I can make a life for myself.
Let me ask you a question, Val. I know that you are the moderator here.
Yeah.
But allow me as well to take control just for that question.
Yeah.
In your university, they put a lot of emphasis on traveling, studying abroad.
In high school.
In high school, not
Yeah,
university.
yeah.
All right. But that's the same thing even in university. Why
Yeah.
do you think this happens?
I think it's a money scheme, to be honest, because we used to have a lot of expos in school, and we would have so many universities from the UK come in like after every 3 months. They would come in, you could apply to, University of Sussex, whatever. You could apply and get in, and this is what we're offering you. And when you see, to be honest, they make a lot of money on international students, a lot of money. Like, I'm paying triple what the student from that original country is paying. And that's just not even fees. It's everything inclusive. I'm paying a lot of money to be there.
That is very true.
Yeah, so they charge you literally an arm and a leg for exposure, and they label it as exposure, and it sells. It sells so fast. So I think that's one thing that even with the university that I went to, I was like, it's called African Leadership University. I wanted to go there because I bought into the vision of, we are African leaders. We are the ones who are going to change this continent. Let's stop this brain drain that's going on. Because it was getting to a point where anybody you would talk to, no, I have to go to the US. I have to go to the UK. And then they're not going to come back. They're going to go.
That's the point I was making.
Yeah.
That is where I was coming from. It's a money scheme, but it's also a talent scheme. Because once our people, as Africans, leave the continent, they have many more opportunities abroad. Someone for the same job that they would have ideally gotten into in Kenya, for example, are paid there perhaps 10 times higher. Common sense, why would you come back home?
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, we're exporting a lot of talent, but then who is going to develop Africa?
Yes.
So these are some of the questions that we basically need to ask ourselves.
And you see, it also plays into when people are so focused on leaving, they are more focused on coming back. So you leave, no problem. We will come in.
The future is here.
Yeah, the future is here.
It is.
You know, and I think Africans, we're the only ones who don't see the opportunity that's here. And it's like, honestly, who bewitched us?
Yeah.
Seriously. It's not that bad.
It's not really having been bewitched. It is a reality on the ground.
Yeah.
To be able to have a good business in Africa requires money. It does, unfortunately. We don't have some of the platforms that we see in other countries.
Yeah, it's true.
And sometimes that creates, actually not sometimes, it creates a hustler mentality. It's a survival opportunity. That is what is guiding the way that we operate in Africa. So it's very, very different. Our ecosystem is different.
Yeah.
But my point is, we need to be more present. We are speaking about different challenges that we are encountering as African. We don't want to cover them up, but we also want to see opportunities out of them.
Yeah.
Because the opportunities that we have in Africa are very different from the opportunities that are there in Europe or in America.
That's true.
So based on our own reality, what kind of systems do we need to put in place? What types of structure do we need to put in place? That is a conversation that we ought to have.
I love that you're mentioning this because it also goes down to our leadership structures at a high core. I was reading something yesterday and it was talking about how Botswana is the only country in Africa where democracy works because they have been able to integrate it with their traditions. So when the British left, they were like, okay, let's just go back to basics. So it's a system that they've had and they have been able to integrate it into their governance. And you see that it helps them. It's really good that you were talking about young people and young talent because if we don't stop that mindset, it will actually, by the time I'm having children, they will also have that mindset of, no, I have to get out of here. I have to go. And then before we will blink and Vision 2040 will be not Africans in Africa.
Is that a Vision 2040?
Yeah, 2060.
Okay.
Yeah, 2060,
okay.
not 2040. Yeah. Vision 2060 would be, like Africans will not be involved, you know?
Yeah.
It's a form of that's what I think. I think sometimes it's a form of recolonization. Going back into business, I know that you're very serious about your faith, and I just wanted to touch on, Christian entrepreneurs. We can touch on women, but not necessarily, but just Christian entrepreneurs. What do you think is the mindset that we have that holds us back as Christians?
Oh, my pastor is going to watch that. I'm in trouble.
Hi, Pastor Don. How are you?
Yeah, the show is called What? Difficult Conversations. Huh? I can see that.
Yeah.
I'm going to be as honest as I possibly can without talking about pastors.
That's why we're here.
Without really talking about pastors. The biggest challenge that we have, according to me, is the misinterpretation of the Bible. We are lazy Christians. We like to be told what to do, how to think, how to react, how to behave. We don't go back to the Bible and confirm, is it what the Lord has said? We don't question the Lord regarding the interpretation that we have gotten. And so we begin life with a twisted mindset as far as business is concerned.
Yeah.
Let me be a bit more detailed about it. I have spent a lot of time with individuals, Christian entrepreneurs. There is this misconception of, I don't have to work, I'm the seed of Abraham and prosperity is mine. And that is not the Bible.
Yeah.
From the beginning of ages, God was very clear about the fact that men have to work. And when I say men, I don't mean just a gender, men and women, that we have to work. That was very clearly stated in the Bible. And we keep seeing that around the different characters that are introduced, starting from Adam, where he was meant to till the earth, the the ground. He was meant to till the ground. To even Paul, at one point in time, he mentioned the same, that I was never a brother to you. We work day and night.
Yeah.
Jesus himself did work. So where is this ideology that we have created that has become our reality, quote unquote? Where we want things to be done in an easy manner, where we expect to sleep and expect the money to flow, to come down from heaven like manna from heaven. We need to be responsible Christian and understand entrepreneurship from a Christian perspective.
Yeah.
That is really number one. Number two is also this ideology of, because I am from the seed of Abraham, I should not be serious about my work when given a certain opportunities.
Ooh.
Val, and I know when I speak about that, people get annoyed. But I will still say it. At one point in time, as an HR consultant, I was biased hiring more Christian because I felt that if we had more Christians in the workplace, then we'll probably change the status quo. That we would have, amazing representation of Christ within the workplace. Oh, but that's changed very fast.
Yeah.
Every time I would hire someone, and then, that question, tell me about yourself. And someone will say, I am a Christian born again. I would just put an X next to the paper. I would X them. Because some of the worst people I have ever met in the workplace are Christians.
Yeah.
We say one thing, we do something else. The person that we portray on Sunday is very different from the person that we are on Monday or Tuesday.
Yeah.
We take work for granted as if it is a privilege, and it is, but at the end of the day, we need to be careful because everywhere we go, we are representing Christ. We are his ambassador. So we are expected to work in a particular way. But unfortunately, that is not the case. And it is extremely sad. You give the same job to someone from a different faith. I don't want to speak about or to name a particular faith. But I've seen the result. I have seen the seriousness. So as a business owner, who will I employ?
Thank you so much. I really appreciate you bringing this up because I told you about the friend that I had from church.
Yes, you did.
Yeah.
Yes, you did.
And you're like, I'm going to slap her. But, but she really had that mindset, And I remember even just talking her out of it, man, it felt like I was trying so hard. But she was like, no, the wealth of the wicked belongs to the righteous. Somebody is working hard so that I can get that money. I was like,
sure.
First of all, that makes God so irresponsible, extremely irresponsible. But that was generally her mindset. She was that mindset of people should just pour into me. And it's even worse if God has called you to have a business or to be a kingdom financier, the level of entitlement that you face from people in the faith.
One of the things, because work is very critical, it's very important. God expects us to work. But there is also the aspect of, and that is what brings confusion sometimes, the anointing of God.
Yeah.
God blesses us, but before he blesses us, there must be something that we are bringing onto him. Let's take an example of Jesus in the Bible, when he fed the 5,000. When his disciple came and complained that there was no food, Jesus is God. He has done that anyway in the Old Testament. There was manna coming down from heaven. So that could have still been a replicate. He could have done the same thing. But he asked, what do you have? And he multiplied what they had. There was a young boy who had a few fish and bread. And he used what he had in his hands to multiply.
Yeah.
Now, when there is nothing to multiply, what do you expect God to multiply? 0 times 10 remains 0.
That's true.
0 times 100 remains 0. At the end of the day, when we are coming before the holy throne of God, he needs to see something that he can multiply, something that he can bless. He said in the Bible so many times, from Old to New Testament, that he has given us different skills and talents to be used for his glory.
Yeah.
So whatever skill that you have, by the way, your ability to communicate, even the idea that you got through this podcast is not yours.
Exactly.
It's not for, to showcase how big you are and the fact that you can speak in a particular way.
Yeah.
If it doesn't give God the glory, then there is an issue there. Everything that you go through must give God the glory. So you need to come to God with whatever you have.
Yeah.
And then there is this anointing once you do. And it is the anointing that will take you now from point 1 to point 100, because he has seen the work that you did. He has seen the sacrifices that you have made. There was a time, I'll give you that example. I was really looking forward to go to DRC for business because I kept hearing DRC in my spirit, and there was a lot of confirmation through the different conversations that I used to have with other people. And at all points in time, it looked like God had closed the doors.
Yeah.
I couldn't travel to DRC for one reason or the other. And then there was a time I just sat down. I was actually sleeping on my bed, and I got a call from this amazing woman who is also a mentor. And she told me, you know what, Emmanuella, there is this opportunity to go to DRC. They've asked for a consultant. It's an international organization. And I think that you are the best person for this job. But now there will be an interview. Come, do what you can do, and then we will see from there. But I have already given your name.
Yeah.
And I have mentioned that without any doubt, Emmanuella is the best person to do the job. So I did the interview. The interview seemed more like fun than anything else. We had so much fun. And the opportunity came. What am I saying? God anointed. He anointed that opportunity. And every year, these organizations have sent me to DRC to do a lot of work, different work for their staff. God needed to bless something that I was already doing.
Yeah.
And that is something that we have to remember. Even as we do our business, it is important to dream. It is important to do the very best. But if God's hand is not in your business, in vain are you
That's
laboring.
true. That's so true. I think even just closing off, what would you say is the one thing you have noticed that sets you apart because of your faith in terms of doing business?
Number one, my faith. You've actually answered it.
Because
it's my
of your faith. Yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
It is a foundation. I don't know how people do life without God, much less business. We are living in a very competitive environment.
Yeah.
You open your business, someone else come and replicate the same thing. It's very common in Kenya and in many African countries.
Yeah, that's true.
So when that happens, then what sets you apart? Number one, it's your faith in God. It is the Lord that we pray that can basically rise you at any point in time.
Yeah.
So number one, I'll say my faith. Number two, it's also the purpose. The purpose that the Lord has given me. Everywhere I go, I know I am not just representing myself. I'm representing Christ. So because I am representing Christ, it means that my brand needs to represent Christ. From the way that I dress up, from the way that I conduct myself, from the words that come out of my mouth. Everything is not just for Emmanuella. It is to glorify the Lord.
Yeah.
And when you put God first, well, you don't need anything else.
That's true.
He will lift you up. And
That's
that is
so
what he has
true.
done in my life.
Thank you. I had somebody say that God's favor lands on anyone. Even if I could read 1,000 books on how to become wealthy, if his favor is not on me, I'm
that's
not
it.
going to be
That's
wealthy.
it.
Yeah.
I
So I
agree.
love that you shared that. And do you have a parting shot? One last thing you'd want to say for anybody who's starting business, despite the obstacles, what would you say to them? In terms of strategy, mindset, anything.
Number one, start with God.
Yeah.
That is very important. Start with God and be guided by Him. The thing about the Lord, especially when you have the Holy Spirit in you, He will tell you take right, He will tell you take left.
Yeah.
When you try to do things based on your own limitation, you're going to get lost somewhere, somehow. But when the Lord tells you to go right, even despite the difficulties, there is a way out.
Yeah.
So you need to do business with God. I usually say that the chair of my board is God. So when we're experiencing challenges, I'm like, this is your company. Sort it out,
Yeah.
Father. It is none of my business. It is you.
And then you go to sleep.
And he always
You
come
leave it
true.
alone, yeah.
He always come
That's
true.
true.
So first, do business with God. Number two, if you are really young and you are starting off, make mistakes.
Ooh.
Don't be afraid to make mistakes. Make as many mistakes as you possibly can. Because when you are young, when you are in your 20s, you can recover it faster. But when you are in your 40s and making the same mistakes, and you have a family, and you have children, it becomes more complicated.
Yeah.
In your 20s, you can lose money and you can still make money. In your 40s, when you have a family, you can lose money, you can make money, but at the end of the day, you will still have to pay school fees. You will still have to take care of your children, your family. So it is not the same way.
Yeah.
So as you are starting off, make as many mistakes as you possibly can. Don't run away from it. I don't know. There is that ideology of success without failure, and yet you cannot be successful without having failed.
Yeah. Ooh.
So embrace failure as much as you possibly can in your 20s. Diversify your income. We are in Africa. Africa is extremely different. So even as you are starting off a business, make sure that you have many different portfolios so that in case something happens, then there is a cushion somewhere else. So especially for women, please make sure that you diversify. We want women to be more independent. And so having control over your finances is extremely, extremely important.
Yeah.
4, pay attention to timing. This is a reason why we started off and we were successful at that time. It was because of the timing. Like I mentioned, Vision 2030 back then. So what is happening right now in the world? You need to be able to pay attention to that. Business is not just about passion. You can get into a business that you are not passionate about, but you can do so by, for example, having a partner, someone who is good at it simply because you were able to see the opportunity in it.
Yeah.
So maximize the opportunity. Look at what is happening in Africa, globally, and see how can I position myself. What type of skill set do I need to have? What type of partnership do I need as well to have as well, as far as bringing up that business is all about. Don't look at a business based only on your skill set.
Yeah.
Because if you do that, you're going to fail. There's so much money out there that may not necessarily be linked to what you do. Here you are today. What are you doing? You are a moderator, you have your show.
Yeah.
But you've told me you did not study journalism
Nope.
in school.
No. Yeah.
You saw an opportunity, God called you in it, and here you are.
Yeah.
So let's have an open mind. Yeah,
Thank you
that's
so
what I'll say.
much.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much, Emmanuella. Thank you for coming. I really honor and appreciate you for being here.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, guys. That's it for Difficult Conversations. Thank you. We shall be keeping more and more of this coming. See you on the next episode. Please remember to like, share, and subscribe. Bye.